2, 3. Cool.
Nice. Okay. We have to put that in now. Not all of it, but just like the last clap.
Well, yeah, you do see me go like.
I didn't even see that.
Just
I'm
so
not gonna
you're
lie.
aware.
Wagwan, G's. No, we're not doing that. Get rid of that. Nicholas. Yeah, cut the thing. Okay, we need a proper intro. We need like a, hello guys. No?
Whatever you want, mate. Yeah, it's your intro.
Okay, well, we're back again. We're also kind of just doing it for fun, kind of just seeing what works. But yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk to you guys about, like Spider-Verse, bad advertising, terrible advertising. So, do you want to start off with that?
We can do. Yeah,
Okay.
Obviously for people who don't know, it was a fuck off light, wasn't it? That was spotted. Where was it spotted?
Chelsea, New York. So
Chelsea,
not
New
the
York.
Chelsea here, Chelsea there, because apparently they have one. And yeah, a lot of people got excited because it's like, if you have Sony Bravia, go to these coordinates, da-da-da-da-da. And people saw like the whole Spider-Verse font and like the glitching in and out and thought it was something to do with the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of webs on a building that lights up. It looks cool, like don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it's sick. But if nothing Spider-Verse related comes from this, I feel like you've got a whole bunch of fans excited
Just to
for
blue
a
ball
TV.
them.
Yeah, for a TV.
Yeah.
Like, they have TVs. If
Do
they
they?
want a new one, cool, go for it. But like, I just feel like it's a lot of people that are really keen for the movie to come out and then heard it got delayed and we're like, you know what? They've done well so far. We'll give them their time. And then you get a tease. And I mean, apparently there's some convention coming up that they previewed the previous movie at. So I'm hoping something happens there because if not, people are going to be pissed.
Well, that's because I was saying it to you earlier as well on Twitter. Obviously, I was reading earlier that apparently, again, take it with a pinch of salt, but supposedly they scrapped the script for Beyond the Spider-Verse, and that's why it was delayed indefinitely. And they've obviously rewrote it. And apparently, what I was reading is that they still haven't decided on an ending, which is crazy to me. I know endings typically get rewritten.
I feel like it's a simple ending. It's Beyond the Spider-Verse. So come out of the Spider-Verse and go into the multiverse, and then it's live action. I feel like that's where it should go, because it's kind of like, after seeing live action people in the last movie, it feels like that's just what you should do.
Yeah.
But
Would you have all of them go into live action versions of themselves? Because obviously you have Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop.
I think a lot of people can stay in their character, but I feel like for Miguel, you need someone different because Oscar Isaac, and we haven't got like a full MCU Moon Knight. But I mean, this is the thing, is that if they do that and go live action, because I mean, Kevin Feige's saying we're getting Miles Morales live action soon.
Yeah.
But now the problem is, do we get the same Miles in the MCU, or does the Spider-Verse then go into their own like Sonyverse? So kind of like a reboot of the Sonyverse. So what's already existed kind of goes into the MCU and they start fresh, but with Miles.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like there's a lot you can do. You can cast like Oscar Isaac as Miguel and not have any problems because it's kind of separate. And if they do overlap, like we're getting Robert Downey Jr. as Doom.
True. Which, I mean, I'm not a fan of. Oh, we've had multi discussions.
Keep it moving. And Jensen Ackles is Batman. And there's nothing you can say to change my mind. I like Alan Richardson. He's cool, but he's absolute Batman, not actual Batman.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a conversation for a little bit later, potentially.
You know what shirt I have on under this hoodie?
Yeah.
And it's the Soldier Boy one with Jensen Ackles, and Jensen is going to be Batman. Anyway, what else?
Yeah. I think where I kind of sit with obviously what everything I read today is it's very much just, I think it's a bunch of bollocks, if I'm honest, because it's weird if it just come out now. I feel like that's sort of the information you'd get straight away, so I don't think that. I'm a little bit worried for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Like it could be anything, but I do think if they do do the live action jump,
Mm.
they can't just get some random people in. They need Lord and Miller to carry on because, I mean,
Yeah.
Spider-Verse has been amazing. Like Spider-Man. But I think if they did live action with those characters, it could potentially be some of the best Spider-Man stuff we've gotten.
No, I don't disagree. I think what we've said before and what you said earlier today, they have potential. Obviously, recent Sony projects being like Morbius, Madam Web, all of that. There's a bit of like controversy around it. Obviously, the films are received the way they're received, but obviously those actors then come out and say specific things. And it's very difficult. Obviously, we've got Craven coming out at the end of this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the 13th of December.
Okay.
So when that comes out,
We'll talk.
definitely be talking about that. Because
Yeah.
I like Craven the Hunter, and I think the casting's cool.
Mm.
Don't know if there's going to be an accent in there, from what I've seen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, does it?
Yeah, it's a lot in between, but I think it'll be really cool.
Do you think he's a little bit small?
No.
Do you not?
No, he's James Bond. He's going to be James Bond. That's my pick. I think he doesn't have to be massive. You don't need your favorite Alan Richardson to be like I think Craven is
everyone.
just a badass hunter.
Yeah.
Now they kind of got like the badass like lion powers and shit. But like, I mean, I think he's a good choice. I think it looks cool.
Rhino I'm a little bit concerned.
Oh, do you prefer the robot one?
I didn't say that. I just want some bloke in spandex.
Oh, you want like
90s
OG.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Nah, that's a bit sus. But I mean, I feel like Jared Leto has been screwed over because like the Joker thing was rough. And then I saw some like interviews where he was basically saying the movie that was released for Morbius was completely different to the movie he made.
Yeah.
And I mean, the same thing was said by people that were in Madam Web. And like I've seen concept art with like Tobey Maguire, well, allegedly Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But then it's like, okay, but it's like 2003-ish,
Well, that was
but Uncle Ben's just, I don't know how that was going to work. So that's probably why they scrapped
The only
it.
thing that kind of backs up that point as well, and it's just come to me in a dream, is obviously in the original trailers for Morbius, you saw Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the wall, and it had murderer written over it.
Yeah.
And they kind of just said...
Just a little Easter egg.
Then you have Vulture at the end.
Yeah, it's a bit strange. I don't
That's
know.
something to do with Spider-Man, I suppose.
So I feel like it could have been done a lot better. And as with like Madam Web, I enjoyed it if you watch it from the perspective of just being a movie, not like
Comic
I want to see Spider-Woman and this and that. Because I think it was alright. Like I didn't think it was terrible like everyone was complaining about. But I feel like it was done, it's set in like, I think it's 2003, I might be wrong. But it's kind of like a movie from that era. So from that point of view, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm just watching a movie from that time. But it's like the way it was advertised and like all the marketing made it feel like we were going to get like full action sequences as them in their suits. And it was like a couple of flash forwards here and there. And then the only power you really see is Madam Web and Ezekiel. So I feel like they could have done better on that front. But I mean...
Ezekiel is quite in that film at least, he's a very poorly written villain.
Yeah, but like in the comics, he's not really supposed to be like a full-on villain.
I get that.
It was just a strange choice. And also with Sony, not to disrespect them, they've made things that I've loved. But every movie that's a Spider-Man movie basically shows you the final battle, all the villains, no surprises. So we got a whole bunch of like trailers with them in their suits.
But that's why
and
I don't
that's
pay
basically
attention.
the whole scene that was them in their suits.
But that's my issue with trailers nowadays, is I feel they give too much.
I feel like there's little hints, like No Way Home.
Yeah.
I feel like that was done in a cool, like... Because I was on a holiday and randomly... We were by the pool and I literally... It's going to sound nerdy as shit. But we were by the pool and I couldn't see my phone 100%. So I grabbed the towels that we had, put it over me, went onto YouTube and saw they dropped the trailer, watched it, and when I saw Doc Ock, I gave birth.
Oh, okay.
My childhood. I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. So I feel like there's ways to do it. Like we knew we were getting more Doc Ock.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
that one scene was the only bit we were going to get.
Well, Alfred Molina had already confirmed that he was returning
Yeah,
beforehand
but you
as
didn't
well.
see it, bro.
True.
When you see it is when you know.
But when the actor says they're returning, that you believe them.
No, because Andrew Garfield wasn't going to be in the movie.
Yeah, but he never said he was going to be in the movie.
Yeah, he was not the best liar. But,
No.
like, it's just... I don't know 100%... Because I feel like if it did come out, it would be way bigger. Because it's like, oh, no, you shouldn't be telling that. There's NDAs, there's this and that. When Tom Holland does it, I feel like it's planned now.
Yeah, that's the only...
Because it's just to, like, give you a little sneak peek.
It's an in-joke, isn't
Yeah.
it? And it's quite, in my opinion, quite a shit in-joke. Like, it was funny to start with, obviously, when he flipped, like, the Infinity War post over on the Instagram Live. That was funny.
I think just commit.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you remember when Mark Ruffalo streamed the first 15 minutes of Thor Ragnarok. That was
I mean, it was just
time to be
audio,
alive.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was just audio.
But, I mean, I feel like that's one of the things that gets people more hyped for what's coming. But it just depends how you do it.
See, my issue with it, maybe not so much trailers, is social media. I think social media is very much...
Ooh, kills it. So, like, the good thing about being in the UK is that some of the movies will get a day earlier. So I feel like you have to go and watch an opening day because, like, the next day you open your feed and just everything...
Yeah.
You'll see basically every big scene from the movie.
Yeah. But that's the thing, isn't it? Because I am adamant on this show, that when those spoilers come out, obviously if they're to the level of what No Way Home was, you can't help but ignore them. But I'm very much, I don't want to talk about them when those sort of things come out. Because I think they ruin the experience, personally.
I watch the trailers like a crackhead. So, with No Way Home, there was, I think it was like Marvel Brazil.
Yeah.
That had the version where you could see Lizard getting hit
That was planned.
by nothing.
That was planned.
But I'm saying I'm that type of crackhead that will search everything and anything because I want the movie to come out.
But
and I want to know
if it's
little
in
bits.
official media that's been released, it's fine.
But when it's people just posting.
Yeah, because it's just, I think it ruins the experience, personally.
But I do like the fact that Marvel's making fake stuff.
Yeah,
to cover
like that
extra
Cyclops
people. Like, yeah.
leak.
That one's a bit sad, though, because it would be cool to see him back.
In the comic, honestly, it would have got me at it.
Okay.
But yeah, like that's just where I kind of sit with it. Because imagine turning up to No Way Home, like it wasn't a midnight showing. I went to a 9 a.m. showing for it. That not going in there, not knowing anything, not having any of the rumors of Toby and Andrew coming, basically confirmed at that point because the amount of footage we had. The amount of leaked footage we had, whether or not it was deliberately leaked, if it was genuinely leaked.
But I saw videos of people taking clips from like behind the scenes of them in the suit and kind of recreating the leaked footage that was actually real leaked footage.
Yeah.
But they kind of like reverse engineered it to show you that, oh no, it's fake.
I
but
remember
it was
that
real.
video, yeah.
So like seeing that, it's like, I feel like that gets you more hype because you genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
If it's not Marvel themselves saying like, yeah, this is happening.
Maybe I'm just a cynic. I think a lot of these leaks you see are leaked by Marvel or like themselves. They give the okay to
We can
generate
thank Ryan
that
Reynolds
hype.
for that.
Well, partly, yeah, to an extent, because yes, that film would have got like crazy numbers without them two in it.
I feel like it's a good kind of like a feeler just to see
Yeah.
our fans actually, do they actually want this? And if it gets bad reception, then maybe they just cut that from the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Toby and Andrew coming back was never ever going to get that bad reception at that point.
True.
But where I kind of sit with it is, I think everything's official. Even if it's not labelled as official. Truthfully, again, maybe I'm just a cynic with it, but that's just where I kind of sit with it. Because you don't get. There's only certain films you get that with. You don't really get it with. You didn't get it with Morbius. You didn't get it with Madam Web. Given yes, there wasn't that much to kind of like leak in theory, but No Way Home, like the two biggest Marvel movies that have come out recently, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Spider-Man: No Way Home, the amount of leaks you got
I feel like there was a lot of like I didn't know Gambit was happening. 100%. I had no clue.
But does that not kind of back my point?
No, because I was like, I really want that to happen. Don't know if it's going to. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then I heard about the Johnny Storm stuff, and I was like, nah, it's not. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And I found out that actually, because it's like an hour away from where we are,
Yeah.
where they filmed that scene, and apparently the people took pictures there, because I'm sure you saw the leaks of like that battle area, and apparently it got shut down because of the strikes. And that's when people took the pictures in that first bit, and when they came back to film his scenes, people thought they stopped filming there. Because it was like months later. So that would have been a bad spoiler if that was leaked, and then you're like, oh shit.
But that, in a sense, where I would kind of sit with that is they pick and choose what they release. And I think they may have seen both sides of the story when it came to the No Way Home with the level of leaks that, okay, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's not leak as much, sort of thing.
Yeah, because like there's a couple that you could see and you're like, nah, I don't know if that's 100%. But I mean, the fact, I would have been happy if it was Captain America.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was Human Torch, it's like seeing that childhood character again when you thought you'd never see it. So like Secret Wars, I'm hoping they go a bit crazy.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I do hope so, but I also, again, I hope we don't see it before it comes out. Yeah. Sort of thing.
Like a lot of people are saying that I think it was James Gunn. I may be wrong, so like don't quote me. But it was something to do along the lines of, oh, I don't want to make movies that just have like cheap cameos.
Yeah.
And like I understand that, but as a huge fan, you never thought you would see Blade.
Yeah.
Elektra. All of those. So it's just like, even if it's just like a cheap pop to get fans excited, at least you kind of know, like, oh shit, that character's still going in a way. So I think it's cool, but like in a movie like that where there's going to be casualties, I reckon Secret Wars is going to be like a full-on, kind of like a soft reboot, but kind of like a hard reboot for some people.
Yeah.
Because like, I reckon all the shows that didn't work, some of the characters that just aren't hitting the way they want them to, they're going to die in that movie.
Yeah.
So this is where you can bring back, so like Deadpool and Wolverine was like the love letter to the MCU.
Yeah.
So now I reckon you could kind of take those characters, bring them back one more time, get rid of them. The things that didn't do that well. Like I saw this morning that Deadpool replaced She-Hulk on the official Marvel poster. So this could be like, oh, we scrapped that character. So you could have 4 Hulks. You could have 2. I don't know if there'll be 2 Blades by that point, but
there's only ever going to be one Blade.
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah, no, I do agree with what you're saying. It's very much, I think, I agree with James Gunn to an extent as well. If it was James Gunn that said that, I think where it lies is how often you do it, how often you rely on those.
Flame on. Like, even get them in as like, because the thing is, Secret Wars will be a big thing. Like multiple people going to one location to do this. Yeah. If it's like the original comic, it could be like villains on one side, heroes on the other. Yeah. So you could have people teaming up and creating groups and stuff like that.
Like a Marvel Superheroes 2 style.
If you want to. The first one's better. But
yes, by far.
So you could kind of do that Marvel Ultimate Alliance setup with a whole bunch of groups. Yeah. But you could have the different Hulks meeting for the first time. You could have the OG Spider-Man back. Yeah. You could have like the original Fantastic Four. So there could be so many different things you could do. Get these different people in and kind of get that whole like childhood nostalgia and then get like a final goodbye because they just get slaughtered. Because I reckon what they're going to do is take the pieces that they want to keep. So Gambit shows up. They don't want to cast a new Gambit. They want Channing. He stays and then they kind of go back. So even if they come from like a different timeline, this and that, because the Fantastic Four is set in a futuristic, like 60s, but the future kind of. So what they could do is they come from that universe. That could have the X-Men. It could have all of them. And they come in, join teams. Whoever survives makes it back to kind of like the new Earth. So everyone goes back to the original Earth we've seen. So that's kind of already established, but now some characters are gone, new ones have replaced. Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Instead
Yeah.
of having a movie every
It's
2
also-
years that has new people.
It's also a good way to see how they're received on a second front of their character. Using
Yeah.
Gambit as an example, people loved it because of obviously the story behind Channing Tatum as Gambit and that whole.
I feel like he deserves it.
Mm.
Like, he
But-
needs to be Gambit.
But I think, let's say he is in Secret Wars, and he's maybe not received as good, and people are like, all right, it was good for the first time to kind of give us that sort of satisfaction of finally seeing him, but now it's a bit like, all right, we've seen him, let's maybe try something else. Maybe it's a bit of brain rot.
Maybe it's a way, because they could use that to see. This is where your spoilers come in. Maybe people see Gambit and go, nah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
But I don't think that's the case.
Mm.
Because I think, like, if anyone's going to do it, because then the thing is, you could have a more established X-Men that in their world, they are the X-Men and they have been for time.
Yeah.
And then that's when they come into the MCU's sacred timeline, and they already established they just move base basically because their world is destroyed by Doom.
Yeah.
So they still have a place to protect and help and all of this. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good because then the thing is, apparently the next Spider-Man, the next trilogy is going to be King in Black.
Yeah.
If you've read King in Black, the comic, English, so if you read that, he basically covers the world in symbiotes and everyone is there trying to fight. So if you have a bigger group of people, you could have everyone. So if there's another big threat, it's more characters you can have. So I'm not saying you need an Avengers movie with everyone from everything. I feel like that's what Secret Wars is. So you could have an X-Men movie where it's like an Avengers level threat, but it's just with like the X-Men.
Because the Avengers are busy.
And they're doing something else. So you could have all these different stories going on all over the place.
Of course.
And because, like, the big thing with the Eternals, it was like, oh, so they just saw Thanos do this, this, and that, and did nothing. Whereas this, you could have multiple things happening all over the place, and each team kind of dispatches to each different part.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. It's intriguing to see where the MCU may go. I think with what you said, they've got to be careful not to feel very repetitive.
Yeah.
And that's the issue I think Marvel face at the moment. Although there's endless comic book stories,
Endless
it's about
material.
Yeah, it's about how you take that material and how you create from that material and what inspiration you take, how true to the source materials you stay, how much you try and change it. And I think that's the balance that they're going to have to work on. And we've just got to see what happens. Speaking of what happens, yeah, that's right. Speaking, obviously we've been speaking about people who have appeared, people who and our reactions and what we think towards that. Obviously, Secret Wars is the next big thing. Basically,
Yes.
Doomsday and Secret Wars. Where do you sit with that? Who do you want to see? Is there anyone you don't want to see?
I don't want to see Tom Cruise.
Fair.
I don't want that Iron Man. I feel like if we do get another Iron Man, it has to be RDJ. Like, I know a lot of people... No, listen. Multiverse. Same face, different people. So, I feel like what they should do if they do bring an Iron Man in, it would need to be like the Tony that didn't die in Endgame.
Yeah.
So what happens in that? Like, I know there was the whole Doctor Strange, there's only one way we can... But if there's a universe where maybe Thanos...
Well, I mean, you watch
Wasn't
What
even
If, and there's a million ways in which they could have fucking won.
So, basically, I just think if we did get one last, even if it's just that movie,
Yeah.
because in the comics, there's like an AI version of Tony that's kind of like Jarvis, and he's a hologram in the suit. That I feel like would be you just bringing RDJ back for the next like 10 movies.
Yeah.
Whereas this, if it is RDJ that didn't die at that point, and he's coming to help, and he's been brought through by Doom, I think it would be, or like Doom's interested in him because why does he have my face?
Yeah.
And it could be a whole bunch of different reasons why. I just feel like if they did bring an Iron Man in, I don't want Tom Cruise.
Yeah. I think people will love it though. It's one of those things that, unfortunately, I feel like is inevitable to happen one day.
Tom Cruise.
Yes.
No.
But I think
There's
it's
so many Mission Impossibles to be made. Go make Mission Impossible.
But do you
My Iron Man is Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is played by Robert Downey Jr.
But do you not think it's inevitable to happen?
If I see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, he's not Iron Man. He's a dude disguised as another dude. And not in Oddie J's way.
But do you not think it's inevitable?
No, it's not. No.
But with the amount of people that fan cast him...
No.
I think it's...
I'm
not saying I want it.
He's Top Gun. He's not Iron Man.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I want it. I'm just saying I feel like it's one of those things that's inevitable.
Maybe if it does happen and I see it, I'll feel different. But right now, I'm like, nah.
Yeah, it is.
Don't do it.
No, I'm in the same boat as you.
So, like, if you watch a Spider-Man movie and there's J. Jonah Jameson and it's some random dude, it doesn't work. No, he's the constant. It's who he is.
Yeah. No, like I said,
the same reason we can't recast Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther.
Yeah.
You can't just throw some other dude in there. If it's his son later down the line, it can work because he's not playing T'Challa.
I agree. But what if it's Tony Stark's son that just so happens to look
like Tom Cruise? He has a daughter, so...
Multiverse. Yeah. You never know. Those chromosomes might have changed. One too many.
Holy shit. Anyway, so moving on from Marvel, just to give that a breather. Okay, the DCEU had some flops.
Yeah, big time.
Like Tom Cruise's Iron Man. Like, there were some movies that were good and were kind of funny. Like Blue Beetle, I've wanted to see live action since I was a kid. So finally seeing that was cool. But it kind of feels like... Yeah, it feels like we're kind of going to lose it because we're going... Like, there's an animated show and Sholo's going to be doing the voice, which is cool. But then I don't know if we'll see him live action again because how does that story...
Well, James Gunn said everything... So from Creature Commandos, everything from forward there is canon. And he says that everything that they reference, so the Suicide Squad, for example, Peacemaker.
Because Peacemaker, I don't know if you've watched that show.
I have.
Because right at the end, you get the Justice League in the back. And
which he does make a point of that, saying he will cross that bridge when they come to it, on how to fix that. But if Blue Beetle was... Because it doesn't have any sort of connections to the larger old DCU. I would love to see him return because I really enjoyed that film. It was a load of fun when I went and watched it in the cinema.
Because I feel like it did have a lot of the action. It had the comedy. It was just like a feel-good hero movie.
I was worried I would just see Miguel from Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And that's what I was happy about as well.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I feel like DC... I mean, I spoke to you about this ages ago, but I feel like the DCEU had a lot of stuff that felt like changing writers, things being cancelled. Like, there was apparently supposed to be a Spider-Verse-esque Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And that apparently got cancelled. I thought that was fan-made, and then I heard, no, this was test footage. So I was like, how do you let something like that slip? Like, it looks amazing. And I feel like we haven't got anything Batman Beyond in ages, but apparently the new game is going to be like that. So I feel like there's a lot of times they've dropped the ball where we could have been really close to getting something really good, and it's just fallen through.
But that's the thing as well. Like, obviously, Zack Snyder had his vision for it. It wasn't the best vision. Let's be real.
No, but I mean, the Snyder cut is way better than the original.
The Justice League we got. I went to the cinema to watch that.
So did I. I went to the premiere.
Oh.
Yeah, we were at a gaming convention, and if you won the Injustice 2 tournament, you got tickets to the premiere. So, like, got some cool stuff. Got, like, a Justice League Gillette razor blade. Pretty cool. Got that. Got some sick snacks and, like, gifts and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, basically watched it, and I was like, it was okay. It was cool.
Yeah, it
like,
was...
it wasn't mind-blowing, like, oh my gosh.
I think at the time you watch it and you're like... To be honest, I kind of was hoping for something like the first Avengers once I heard that Joss Whedon was taking over. Obviously, there's all that controversy about how he was on that film, which is, if true, is ridiculous, and it's crazy that he was like that, and they like Warner Bros allowed that and like facilitated that. But
I do find it crazy that they just kind of let that happen. Because also getting basically everyone back to film other scenes, and I just ruined it.
Yeah. And I think when you look at, obviously, when Zack Snyder started talking about he had the cut still, and that he wanted to show it to people, and obviously release the Snyder Cut was one of the biggest comic book movements on social media.
Yeah.
I said on my TikTok quite a while ago, I think the video is still up, but I don't know how far you'd have to scroll to see it. I honestly thought, and to an extent do still think, it would start a very bad precedent for comic book movies, in the sense of, if a film flopped, the director would come out and say, that wasn't my vision. And that links towards Joker, to Madam Web, Suicide Squad,
Morbius.
Like, it's one of those things where...
But I feel like there's stuff that it could have been good, and then when it came out of like the editing room and it just wasn't what they wanted, you would want to say that.
Yeah.
So if genuinely you had a different vision and it's been edited and a whole bunch of shit's changed, like Madam Web having that concept art with Spider-Man, that confused me when I saw it, but then initially it could have been a way that it worked, and it could have been a completely different movie. So I think, depending on how it gets edited, what they keep and what they take out, I mean, you should have complete control of your director.
Yeah,
but
you should have complete control. I think I just thought it'd cause a bad precedent, because
Trump. Cut that.
Let's I think it would start a bad precedent, because you would just have those directors come out and say, "Oh, it's not my cut," and they hope that they get the same treatment as what Zack Snyder.
Ooh, I didn't know you liked him like that.
Because I remember the day in which Zack Snyder's Justice League was released on Sky Cinema, and Arsenal played that evening. I watched Arsenal. It was all, and then my family went to bed. I stayed downstairs, had a monster, and I ended up watching it that night. And I didn't go to bed till about 3 a.m. Which is light work for some people.
But I mean, I would say when I heard it might be released like a series, I was like, oh, that'll be quite cool. But then I heard it's like coming out for like 4.5 hour cut, 2.5 hour cut.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, damn, how am I going to get through that? And then
it was cut really well.
Yeah. And then I watched it and I was like, whoa, okay, that's what the movie should have been.
Yeah.
And then to kind of hear that kind of all collapse, and just because I thought this is like a jump off point, you could carry on from here. I really thought that maybe the Flash movie was going to be Flashpoint Paradox, and it would go back in time, and all the problems that they've had from the previous movies,
soft reboots,
would just erase. But
and
then
erase Ezra Miller.
That movie became what it became.
Yeah.
And I just feel like DC keeps fucking themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
not in a good way.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, there's so much they could do, and like there's great characters. Like moving forward with the DCU, I know there's Brave and the Bold, and they want to middle-aged Batman, middle-aged Jensen Ackles Batman. And I feel like we've gotten Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
We've gotten Batman and miscellaneous detective that we thought was Robin. But we haven't had like a full Bat family. Like we did have Batgirl, but it wasn't like several Robins. Yeah. Robins that have gone on to become Red Robin, Nightwing. And I feel like now that people have seen Titans... Yes. Like if it's Death in the Family, Courts of Owls, like a lot of stuff going on. You could even have it that to introduce them, you have Batman getting injured. Dick Grayson takes over. Have like a proper Nightwing story, because I know there's like the animated dynamic duo that's going to come out, I think, in 2028. Yeah. Which I think will be good. But I feel like those are focusing, because like Creature Commandos are also animated. So I see that they're doing all the animated stuff, but I just really badly want like a full-on like Nightwing,
do you think
Titans movie.
And this is kind of something that I've always had in my mind. Do you think these sort of movies would work better in animation as a whole?
I mean, I would say DC's animation is probably the best thing they have
Yeah.
going for themselves. Because,
Yeah.
like, Under the Red Hood, it's kind of more grown up. It's not fully, like, for kids. So, that's really good. Like, a lot of the animations are really interesting. Batman, voiced by Jensen Ackles. I'm just saying. But, I mean, it's good.
Yeah, so he's already been Batman, so let someone else take
live
the
action.
mantle.
So, we got live action Kevin Conroy. We can get live action Jensen Ackles.
Yeah,
as
why not
Batman.
live action Alan Richardson?
No, he's never been Batman.
He can be.
No, he can be Bane. No, Bane's going to be Batista or something like that. It needs to be...
Nah, Hugo
good.
Strange for Batista now.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight.
Bro, he
that
looks-
actually works,
Bro,
technically.
he would be fucking real as Hugo Strange.
I mean, he's
'cause
got
an
like the
incredible
white beard
actor
now.
as well.
And yeah, I mean... I mean, fair enough. If he goes back to like Batista, like 2006 muscles, he can be Bane.
True, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
I'm
want to.
cool with that. I just think, because I know he wanted to be Bane for ages, but I think having him in a Batman movie would be sick.
Honestly, if I saw if they done Hugo Strange live action, like Arkham City, that sort of vibe,
Yeah.
get me.
Because, I mean, if we do have a more established Batman, I feel like you can have a younger Superman because he's an alien. So I feel like, also, Hal Jordan,
yeah,
I think it's a 59-year-old actor
yeah,
that's going to be playing him in the Green Lantern series. And looking at all of that and how much older they're making it from like previous iterations,
yeah,
I feel like they're going to try and meet Marvel
where they are.
when Marvel gets to Young Avengers. Because
Yes.
there's a lot of characters that haven't really grasped the fans. And I feel like they could adjust that in Secret Wars. But if they do get to Young Avengers, I reckon if they do live action Titans,
Yeah,
Teen Titans will demolish what they currently have. Because I'd say now there's quite a few,
100%,
like
100%.
Kate Bishop, Yelena, you've got Wiccan now. So like,
many of them are written the same though in the Marvel.
I mean, this is what I'm saying, because we know Titans works.
Yes.
Because the show had like quite a big following. But if you give them a decent movie budget and you can make the proper Titans, like a Teen Titans movie would beat the current like cast for
100%.
Young Avengers.
100%.
So I think that might be the direction they're going. That's why they're kind of casting
Asher
older
Angel
people
is
for the
Nightwing.
roles. It'll work.
Back it's to the high moons
'Cause
of
I think-
Mordor.
Because I think they will kind of do that and meet them at that level of like
Yeah.
the young heroes. Because they could still have the Justice League stuff in the background and even move it forward as much to have them join. Because currently in the comics, there's like a massive Justice League.
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited, which is like every hero all under that group. And they got like a space station headquarters. So they could do it that way where there's just an endless amount of heroes.
Yeah.
So they could kind of just mix and match and kind of have
It would
tons of
work
characters
as well,
at
I
once.
think, because the thing with Marvel is that obviously they very much like to have a little pot, like this little pot that I make with my hands here,
Okay.
of characters, and I feel like to an extent that holds them back a little bit. Okay,
They've got a lot of characters now, though.
but
Have you seen Endgame?
yeah, I've
Did you
seen.
see how many portals were there?
Yeah, but how many of those got screen time?
Yeah.
And I think
Movies can only be so long.
true, but I think what DC could do is have lots of little pots, like this, and you could just move
Like this.
and you could move between them.
You give it a twist.
Exactly. But I think DC have such a good opportunity at the moment to take over
Yeah, true.
comic book, not media.
I feel
as
like
such,
it's
but-
going to be... Because like Marvel's had a lot of ups and downs.
Mm.
So I feel like if they catch them around Young Avengers and they haven't built those characters up more and made them a bit more established, I feel like that's where they'll swoop in.
Yeah.
And it could be more level, or they could maybe beat them. But what's coming up for Marvel and the fact that the Russo brothers are back,
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be difficult. Like,
Yeah.
James Gunn has to know exactly what he's doing.
But I think I think there's the potential, if I'm honest. As much as I love the Russo brothers, some of their films are fucking dull, visually.
What movies?
All of them.
Anyway.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Just
Yeah, that's...
catch some bait. Catch some bait. No, but truthfully though, I would say there's certain things where I'm a bit like with the colours, but that's a personal nitpick. I'm not saying as a whole they look dross, but there's certain shots where I'm a bit like, right, it's a bit drossy.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Lots of bait for everyone to come after you and not me. Yeah. But I mean,
let the games begin.
we're just gonna have to see what happens because I feel like there's a lot of stuff they could do with Batman in particular when it comes to that brave and bold, and there's a lot of characters. Because I feel like in the Spider-Verse movies, the Spot wasn't like a massive character, and it became quite a menacing villain.
Condiment King.
No, I don't know how they're gonna do that. But I feel like they could take
Just Mace.
a lot of the picks that James Gunn has are a bit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But he makes it work, just like Suicide Squad. So I feel like he's very good at making
Suicide
those
Squad is
comedic hero movies. But I want to see what like a proper dark DC movie he can make.
That's what I'd like to see as well, like how dark he can go. Because obviously we're still Guardians, and there was a lot of dark undertones within that film.
Yeah.
I think the Suicide? I can't speak today.
Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, I think, is that opportunity to introduce those random ass characters.
Yeah.
And now a lot of them people love, like Bloodsport.
Yeah, and that, fair enough.
Like, Peacemaker has his own show.
The cool thing by doing that is that in the comics more recently, there's absolute power.
Mm.
And in that, Amanda Waller, through different companies, kind of owns all the prisons.
Yeah.
So whoever gets thrown into Arkham or any of those sorts of prisons, she can just pull them out. So she's trying to do all these different things, and she can literally just pick. So you could literally have anyone in like the next Suicide Squad movie, and no one will question it if they make that play. And Amanda Waller is super powerful. So I mean, there's endless possibilities. It's just whether it's going to do well.
I don't disagree with you. I think we've just got to wait and see. In reality, will it flop? Will it succeed?
I feel like a lot of the time it will be like you get super hyped for the next Marvel movie because you know it continues the story and you want to see what surprises there may be, Easter eggs for the next thing coming up. But then when it comes to DC, you kind of see a trailer and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like with the Batman, it was different because it didn't connect to anything. So you're like, cool, it's just like a separate Batman movie. Awesome.
Yeah.
But then now it's kind of like, this is a whole new start of like, you get new things. Some of the things stay the same. They could do really well.
Yeah.
But now because it seems so far away, you just want it to come even sooner.
I think with it, and you mentioned it with Batman, it kind of triggered something in my mind. My mind is telling me no.
You should listen to it.
But when all of these announcements were happening with the Batman, I was like really negative about it. I didn't like the casting. I didn't like the suit. Didn't like the Batmobile.
Yeah, there's one thing about the suit. There was a version that came out with him that had the like chin piece.
Don't like the chin piece.
I feel like it looked slightly better.
No.
Or even not even like the full chin piece, but like if it just came down slightly lower on the sides,
maybe
it's more Batman. Whereas this one kind of just went straight across. It was too much. It was too much cheek and chin. A little bit too much. I like the movie. Don't get me wrong.
I adore.
But I feel like the next movie, when there's inevitably going to be a suit upgrade.
Yes.
And I think at that point,
grey and blue.
I don't know. Who knows? It'll be interesting though, because I feel like that doesn't get enough screen time.
No.
It's like Batman's just all super dark colors. There's no pop of color since like 89.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing as well, isn't it? It's how we go. And I think what I've learned with the Batman is to not be too harsh on castings. Obviously, I was young when Heath Ledger got cast as Joker, so I wasn't too sort of like bothered by it. I know it got a lot of like, it caused a lot of discourse and everything like that. And I think we've just got to kind of take it as it comes.
So I read that Kevin Feige has confirmed that the end of Secret Wars is going to lead into a new age of mutants.
Mm.
Only problem is, we've seen Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
in an alternate timeline. We've seen Beast and now Wolverine.
Okay.
In order to keep going from here forward, how the hell are they going to do Wolverine? And who's going to be the new Charles Xavier? And what do they do with Beast? If they are coming in, I don't see them staying for the next however many years. Till he's 90. Could work, but he will age. So are they going to introduce a new Wolverine? If not, do you reckon their plan will be established X-Men with X-23 taking over the role of Wolverine like she did in the comics? Or do you think they bring a new Wolverine in?
It's tough.
It is tough.
It's a tough one to answer, I think. They have the potential to obviously keep Wolverine in it, like you said. He's going to do it till he's 90. But then they also have the opportunity to, not so much soft reboot, I would say, but like do their own spin on it, which I think is good. I think you leave what you've got in a little pot over here.
We're going back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You leave it in a little pot over here, and then you make a new pot. Yeah, you get like the clay.
You're making the whole pot from the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you start mixing in different herbs and spices. You know,
This isn't KFC.
this.
But I mean, I would say you could have... But I just feel like him being from a different universe and like part of the multiverse, him coming in from there and potentially having a new one. I feel like after Secret Wars, they're kind of killing off the multiverse in a way.
Yes, I hope so.
Like, they're not trying to bring too much from all over the place. They're just going to have that set story and move forward from there. So I reckon it'll be like Spider-Man leading it, and he's going to kind of take on the role that Iron Man had previously.
Yeah.
And that'll lead into the whole Young Avengers thing. But then it's just making sure they do it correctly, because then there's a lot of like these cameos from the past that won't happen. Because it's like, with the X-Men, are we going core members from the movies, core members from the comics? Are we getting Cable? Are we getting Bishop? Are they doing that? Like, there's so many different things they could do. But I feel like because a lot of these movies link to one another and there's crazy big threats, in comics you can kind of have a big threat and not expect the Avengers to come in.
True.
Whereas in this, a lot of people are like, why didn't the Avengers turn up if that was so crazy?
Yeah.
If Spider-Man was going through all of that in No Way Home, why didn't they turn up?
Because they only protect America.
New York is America, bro.
Yeah.
So where were they at?
All right. Nah, like magic. You know. No, I think with it, I agree with you. I think people need to get over the fact that the Avengers need to get involved with everything, because, like you said, they don't have to.
Yeah, but you know, there's those fans that kind of watched Iron Man one day and was like, I love this, I want to get into it, and they don't know what's happening in terms of comics, and there's years and years and years and years of stuff you can do. But I feel like a big majority of these fans have fell in love with the comic book characters. Not necessarily gone back to like the source material and read the comics, but they're looking forward to like the new shows and movies. So they feel like, if this is an established universe that has these massive characters, why don't they show up and help everyone all the time?
True. But again, I just think they need to get over it.
But I feel like with Null potentially 100% showing up in the new Spider-Man, if it is the King in Black story altered slightly, how are you going to have someone cover the whole world in a symbiote and like literally turn 90% of the population into symbiotes and not have all the Avengers turn up? Yeah, but or even if you do, it's still a Spider-Man movie, but you've got all these extra characters. It basically becomes an Avengers movie.
Like Civil War.
So it's one of those, it's like, how do you manage that without it being too much?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you do just have to kind of accept will happen at that point. Because you can do it as a Spider-Man movie, then it will end on that. And I think those movies where it starts, you've got to end it on that cliffhanger. And I know people won't enjoy the constant cliffhanger of that, but in order to world build, you need it. You can't just have it in one pot.
Again, leave your pots alone.
You
but
need
I
it.
feel like there's so many things that like a movie will end,
Yeah.
and you will be like, wow, I can't wait for the next installment.
Yeah.
But with Marvel having so many properties and so many things, a lot of the time that cliffhanger lasts years.
True.
And then by the time it comes around again, you're like, oh shit, what happened in that again? And then I feel like I'll get to the point, like, yes, please take your time, because that's when we get the really good movies. That's why I'm not too phased about the delay of, Beyond the Spider-Verse. But I just feel like you can't have something so big and the gap be like 10 years. Because like, it would have been fine having like a 5-year gap in between movies.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when there's certain movies that their sequel came out ages later. But I feel like because there's so much happening in everything Marvel, if you have a massive thing happen in Spider-Man and your next movie's Doctor Strange, you can't just have his movie carry on without the ramifications of Spider-Man, and then that can infect, like, let's say that affects the whole world.
Yeah.
How do you tell Doctor Strange a separate story in a world where this is all happening?
I think you do it in... Unfortunately, I feel like you have to do it in some form of Avengers arc.
I mean, I feel like...
Or some form of arc like that.
I feel like I'm kind of just chatting shit now, because everything that's coming up... So supposedly Doomsday is going to create Battleworld, which is where Secret Wars is going to take place. So that means Spider-Man would take place...
Yeah.
on Battleworld, which means it'll all be all over the place. So then I guess that kind of answers my question. And I've been talking for like fuck all reason.
I guess
it depends how they do it, right?
The difference there would then be Battleworld, like an Avengers film. More people are going to watch an Avengers film than like a maybe not a Spider-Man movie as such, but then a Doctor Strange movie. So the people who will watch that Doctor Strange movie in this part are more likely to jump into this part with the bit of cheese sauce in it, with the Avengers and all of that, and the Doctor Strange. Does that make sense?
Enough.
Like, that's what I think will happen at that point, because if you're always trying to keep it in one part and you're not willing to expand that, yes, have those sort of bigger stories in a bigger part, but allow that pot to have little faucets on the side to leak out into other stories, other parts.
Because, I mean, I feel like it could work. Because, like, to be fair, a lot of these big titles in the comic books do have spin-offs with each different character. So if you're following a storyline that has 5 people, you can also follow the other characters that aren't in that main arc until later. So you know where they've been, what's happened. But then it's still going to be over years, because they can't exactly do all of these.
That's the difference with movie media and comic book media, isn't it? You can kind of get away with those bigger stories on a comic book scale, or even an animated scale, because you can maybe not afford.
I would say afford, because like if you're getting every Avenger in every movie, it's gonna
add up. And I think even like afford it in a different sense of you can afford to take shorter or longer in an animated style.
Cause I feel like Marvel has been very good at building up the Avengers. Because I think that was kind of DC's downfall, is that they weren't thinking bigger picture.
Yeah.
They were doing standalone, then try to make it all connect, and just were trying to rush it in a way where Marvel had years and years to do it. Now Marvel has got to a point where everyone expects it to be like an Endgame level movie.
But I think that's just
movie
where
that comes up, basically.
People have got to learn to manage their own expectations. You can't expect that level of film every time.
But they do, because once you've seen that, you're like, how does it get better than this? Because like, if it ended there, everyone would be upset.
But you can still make a good quality film, if not better, on a smaller scale.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I think people forget that.
Yeah, because I feel like they want the big surprises and like crazy things to happen. Because I feel like Loki has been brilliant,
Yeah.
and like I'm waiting to see what it'll be like when he shows up in any of the other movies that comes out.
Yeah.
Because he's got like a lot of strings that he can pull. So I think that'll be really interesting. But that was something that was small, off to the side series, but it was really good.
Yeah.
So I just think they need to keep going forward with like making sure they do take their time in a way, but it's just some of them take too much time. So Moon
Yeah.
Knight was brilliant. It's been really long, and I don't think we're getting a Blade anytime soon.
Yeah. I think where it lands is people always going to expect more than what's feasible.
No, because when everyone got a lot, they didn't like the quality of the stuff that was coming out.
Exactly.
So like a lot of it has been fixed, and they've gone back and sorted it. But it's like if it's initial release date and you see something, you go, "Ooh, that CGI was a bit whack."
Yeah.
The thing is, it takes a lot of people. Like, you know how many people it takes
Yeah.
because you wait for that post-credit scene, and it's just company after company after company after VFX artist, VFX art, and it's just tons and tons of people. So you can't expect them to pump out a lot of stuff all the time. But I feel like,
And for it to all be at top quality.
yeah, because you expect it to be that end game level. But I feel like they kind of got people accustomed to every year, every 2 years, there will be this banger of a movie.
Yeah.
But now, if you tell a big story and you have too much of a gap, I feel like that's where people are going to be like, "Oh, I've been waiting so long for this," and that's in those, let's say, 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5. You
Yeah.
build up the expectations so much because it's taken so long. The thing is, you'll still get a great quality movie because they've taken their time doing it.
Yeah.
But you may not get that end game level, but it will still be a brilliant movie.
Yes.
But you've built up the expectations for yourself so much. This is another thing with like GTA 6 coming out.
Yeah.
So many people have had so much time to just sit and think, and it's still going to be mind-blowing if it's anything like GTA 5 when that came out. But, I mean, there's a lot of times where people see something and they're given too much time to kind of
Yeah. Sit
and just think and expect the craziest of things to happen, and then it doesn't. And then they go and kick off and say it's the worst movie ever made. Oh, it's terrible. It sucks. I don't like it.
But you're gonna get that no matter what film. Unfortunately, that's just the face, and that's just always gonna happen, isn't it? You're never gonna be able to get to that point where you're gonna please everyone. And I think, let's say you do use Spider-Man for example. Let's say you're doing a Spider-Man film and you're trying to appeal to people who have read a specific comic or love a specific comic. Like take a random one like Ultimate Spider-Man or something like that. Some people aren't going to like it no matter what. Whereas if you still believe in it and you can tell when someone puts like their heart and soul into film, like the Raimi trilogy, for example, people don't like those films. Okay,
a lot of people look back at it and they're like, "Oh, it's not that great."
Exactly.
But I mean, it's your childhood.
Exactly, and people are always gonna like those films, and people are always going to appeal. And like me, it's like Spider-Man 2 is my favorite film of all time. I adore that film. But whereas someone else might not like that film, and that's fine at the end of the day. It's an opinion, but I think because of how big Marvel is, or the MCU is, and so, again, going back onto the social media aspect of it, you're always going to get that negativity, and negativity always spreads faster and louder than positivity.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of, like, when you look at the MCU as a whole, there's characters that come in as side characters and they get built up into bigger characters.
Yeah.
And they don't get, like, a full-on origin story. And I feel like those Raimi movies give you that, like, one of the greatest origin stories. Like, it's your whole childhood, it's full nostalgia, and it just sticks with you. So I feel like the way Spider-Man was introduced wasn't a full-on origin story. You know who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of people that they'll drop in here and there, and they don't feel as big of a character.
Yeah.
But you kind of build to like them, but then there'll be a lot of very big characters that you'll just go, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll take it, and then you just go from there. So I have a feeling that the DCU will probably just drop you in with like an older Batman. You don't need the whole origin story.
Yeah, which
We
I agree
all know.
with.
So I feel like a lot of the new characters that we don't really know, that's when you would have to potentially kind of give them a bit of an origin story. So I feel like a lot of the time people are getting these new characters drop in and then they don't like them initially and then grow to like them.
Yeah.
So I just hope that when it is done,
Would you?
it gets done properly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is you can skip origin stories nowadays. You can, because you've had those origin stories done. You've had, obviously Spider-Man 1. You've had Tassim. You've then had obviously Batman Begins, and you've had previous iterations. Even Superman. You've had quite a few Superman films, even a show as well. It's all about how you actually go about doing it, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of the MCU Spider-Man, because I think they go on about saying, oh, his first trilogy was his origin story becoming Spider-Man. We don't want that. It's in the nicest way. Like, the trilogy was, as a trilogy, it's not great.
Oof. Okay.
It's not.
I mean, I think just it was good to get Spider-Man to that scale, because I feel like he kind of got the best of the previous Spider-Man. So I would say Andrew Garfield has the more badass like spider movement and stuff.
Yeah, he
But I would
moves like a
say
spider.
the mixture of being nerdy Spider-Man, but then also being like, well, nerdy Peter Parker, and then being a really good Spider-Man works really well.
Yeah.
And I get what you mean about you didn't get that
Yeah.
homegrown suit and then kind of going from there and building his way up.
Mm.
We kind of got him in like Stark Tech full on.
But the thing, like, with that, I think Civil War handled it absolutely fine with how they introduce Spider-Man. Is they have that conversation. Peter and Tony have that conversation. That kind of passes it. That gives you a lot of the core information. Yes, I fucking wish they name dropped Uncle Ben or had a bit more emphasis on Uncle Ben within that trilogy. And I think that's one of the reasons why I dislike it, if I'm honest, is because of how little, or like, he's not even referenced once. Like, the biggest reference you get is the suitcase that he takes on Far From Home. The suitcase, in theory, then gets blown up or whatever, just gets lost, and he doesn't give a shit. That's his uncle.
Feel like what they could do is that with the whole ending of him in like a more comic book accurate suit, no tech, literally just the suit, I feel like now you're going to get the Spider-Man you want.
I hope so. Because
this is where you could bring in like the Harry Osborns, and I have a feeling that it's going to be MJ is studying with Ned. It's now been a couple of years. Ned now works at the new company in town, Oscorp, that could be in Europe, because there's some storylines where Harry's in Europe and stuff like that. So it could be that Oscorp is now nearby. He's working for the Bugle, and then that's when you've got Ned working for Oscorp. Could become the Hobgoblin. Then I don't see the whole MJ change to I want to be an actress in this iteration, but it could be that she's kind of like the Gwen Stacy type. And then we could get another actress in as Gwen Stacy that's more of the MJ type, if that makes sense. So she'll be the I want to be an actress. I want to be a model. Yeah. And so you could kind of have a flip there between the two, and you have her kind of taking on the Gwen Stacy role and vice versa. And then from there, you could have that relationship. He could then become friends with this guy called Harry, start hanging out with Harry because of the whole Oscorp thing and the smart people. That's where you meet MJ again. And that could be an awkward moment of, oh, damn, it's her. I haven't seen her in ages. All of that comes back. But now he's got a new, which everyone's saying is going to be Timothée Chalamet if they do have Harry Osborn. So I feel like you could do that, but I do want, because he is getting the symbiote, like it has to happen if we're getting Secret Wars. Because of all the stuff that's happened to him and the fact that like no one knows him, and it's basically gone back to Raimi Spider-Man in the shitty apartment that the door doesn't work properly. And I think from there is where we'll get, when that symbiote gets to him, he's going to be the most badass version of Spider-Man. And then he would need someone to talk him out of that and get him back on level ground. Who do you think that is? Because I have an opinion. No, yeah, but she gone. So
Shouldn't have gone.
no, she gone though.
Yeah, I know.
That's his Uncle Ben. His Aunt May.
Yeah, but then who the fuck's his Aunt May?
She dead. She's new Uncle Ben.
But,
So-
then who is the Aunt May?
What do you mean? Who's the Aunt May?
So if Aunt May's Uncle Ben, who's Aunt May?
Tony.
But he's.
Yeah, shame. There's storylines where they both die. I'm just saying.
I know. I'm not. I don't.
That was the moment that was kind of his Uncle Ben moment because she even said the famous phrase. So I reckon maybe crazy, maybe pushing too far. Read it as a theory, kind of liked it, don't know how they're going to do it. But if he saves some people, gets a bit twisted, and this kid tells him, like, you're Spider-Man, that's where you could enter Miles Morales. But do we have an origin story of Miles Morales?
I think at that point you do have to.
But do you do that? Because you said they didn't give a proper origin story. So do you have a whole separate movie, maybe Spider-Man 5, that follows both of them, and you get the mini, oh, here's what Peter's doing, but in the background, Miles is doing this. This is how he gets bit. This spider could be from Oscorp. And then, boom, Spider-Man.
Mm.
So they could do that. Or another thing they could do is solo film for him. Or you bring the one from Spider-Verse. But then that's a fully established, he is Spider-Man.
Yeah. But then
So-
it falls into the thing of people, if you haven't watched that, you then have to go back to get all of that context.
It's good.
That
Watch
sort
it.
of thing. No, I know. I don't disagree with you at that point. I think where I sit and my issue with everything you've said.
But if
at
you're a
that point-
Spider-Man fan, you would have seen it. It's a fact.
Yes. But
And if you're one of those people that's like, I don't like anime, it's a good, regardless, being animated live action YouTube video, it is good. The
Yeah.
whole story, it's good.
I don't like I said, I don't disagree with what you say about Spider-Verse. It's an amazing film. Some would say it's spectacular.
Oh, I heard amazing. I was wondering when you're going to say it's ultimate too.
It's probably going to be one of the trilogies that we consider an ultimate trilogy. Some would even say it could be sensational.
Astonishing.
Yeah, exactly. Even astonishing. Some could say it could glow the colour of scarlet if you put it into a pebble, or into a pot.
And when you have that
It
good
could-
set of DVDs in your
Yes.
hand, it'll be like the power.
Exactly.
Of?
The sun in
Yeah.
the palm of my hand. And it could also have the scent of cheese sauce. But no, I think where I kind of sit with it is, again, I am that negativity side of it, and I am being a little bit hypocritical of what I said previously.
I feel like
Everyone's
that's
hypocritical.
we bounce back and forth.
And you naturally will.
Yeah.
You naturally will. I just don't like the fact you're flipping everything, personally. Maybe it's the tism.
Maybe. But I feel like they've kind of already done that. Like, Zendaya is not Kirsten Dunst from...
Yeah, I mean, I've said it to you like off camera. I don't think she's great. As
'Cause I
MJ.
think it works, but she's not Mary Jane.
Maybe
it's a
I'm
different
stuck in
take.
that way. Maybe I'm stuck
So
in the.
I
negative
feel
way.
like... But there's a lot of characters that are just made for the movies and they blow up and everyone loves them. So I feel like I'm happy with the way it's going, but I feel like the next kind of soft reboot new Spider-Man will be good because we'll get the like OG trio, but instead of it being MJ, because they can't do another girl called MJ and she's Mary Jane because like
Yeah.
what the hell?
I would rather them go down the Gwen Stacy route,
Yes.
personally.
Because then I think you could kind of, I don't know if you'd play with the Spider-Verse there, because then that would just create more issues, because then you can't have like Ghost Spider coming in. It's just too much.
Yeah.
So I think if you have her as normal Gwen Stacy, and then it could be that he gets with her, has a great relationship, he's now dating, he's doing the whole pizza delivery, Daily Bugle, and then she's like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with some friends. Gets there, meets Harry, becomes mates with Harry.
Yeah.
And then Harry's like, oh, come out, hang out with me and some of my friends from my dad's work. Ned. And he freaks out because, oh shit, that's Ned. And then someone's running late and it's MJ. And it could be a whole, like, holy shit moment for him because he never thought that would happen. But then it could bring back all of those memories and, like, oh shit. And then he could look at now Gwen Stacy and be like, damn, what if this happens again and now you're in trouble?
Yeah.
Or you could do the whole thing where he doesn't have a relationship with someone as Peter Parker. It could be Black Cat. And he could be like, you know what, you can fend for yourself.
I think...
Especially if you go symbiote. Because he'll be like, you stealing, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. The way I would approach the next Spider-Man trilogy is to not include Ned or MJ for the first 2 films.
So do it in the last one.
Well, not everything, but you maybe ease them in the second one, and then you ease them a little bit more.
But I feel like him seeing them after that long would be like, oh shit.
But I think you've also got to...
Or first movie ends, you see Hobgoblin, and all the people that don't know the comics are like, who dat? Oh, it's like Green Goblin, but he's Hob.
Roderick Kingsley. Gonna appear.
Anyway.
No, like, that's the thing. When it comes to MCU Spider-Man, I'll admit I am a massive cynic when it comes to it. And like, that's something, again, just naturally how I am.
I mean, Raimi's just got you in a chokehold.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. I'm just... It's the only thing that I'm, like, quite strongly negative with when it comes to it, if I'm honest. And I know it comes across, like, I know how it comes across.
Because I feel like a lot of stuff online was saying, oh, it's going to be, like, street-level threats. It's not going to be hectic. But then it gets announced that King in Black is going to be the next kind of big thing.
Could change.
That is not street-level.
Yeah.
Maybe the movie starts off street level, but then it's also going to apparently be on Battle World. So, how street level can it be? Because, like, literally the whole world has kind of to a different world, and now there's all these other threats, different people, multiple spider people, hopefully.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I said it to you, but the way, like I said, the way I would approach it if I had full reign is I wouldn't put it on Battle Worlds if I had the opportunity. If I had full control of how that's not caring about the rest of the MCU.
Or do you think it's kind of like a flashback and it's before Battle World and then he takes out the big bad or the big bad's about to escape. It doesn't happen. They end up on Battle World. And now the big bad has been basically beaten and is damaged. But now everything he's got, like everything is gone. So if you introduce MJ, Ned again, show that there's a friendship between him and Harry, and he's dating Gwen Stacy or Black Cat, and now he's gone, and how do I get back? The real No Way Home. And then it's like, shit, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then this is where you could throw in
A Brand New Day.
like a whole bunch of different stuff, because I feel like that would throw him off, and then being really upset, like, I can't go back. I've taken him out. This is not supposed to happen. I can't catch a break type thing. And then out of nowhere, when he's at his, like, weakest, he's getting upset, he's angry, he wants to help. That's where the symbiote gets him. And while on Battleworld, he is the most devious bastard. And then that's where, because it works with Battleworld, because then you could literally pluck an established Miles Morales.
Yeah, I think to introduce Miles Morales Battle Worlds is a good, if you want to do established.
Because if they push it forward, and in that time frame, because basically the MCU was ahead of us by like a couple years, because of the whole 5-year thing.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, now we're basically catching up to that timeline because of the time it takes between movies.
You can't speak.
No, I can't. It's contagious, bro. So because of the time it takes between these movies, we're kind of catching up to that timeline. So I reckon what they could do is have Miles come and see him, talks him out of it, gets him to like a good symbiote level. He gets back. When he gets back, time has gone on. They'll be like, what happened? And he could come up with some bullshit story, let's be honest. I mean, he was taking god tier pictures of Spider-Man and Jameson said nothing. So he
Flagpole.
you could just say some bullshit, get out of it, But when he gets back, his job's been taken by a guy called Eddie Brock. Enter your favorite, Alan Richardson.
No, he's Batman.
And anyway, from there, that's when he can get the symbiote. We've got a new Eddie Brock. Or it could be Flash, because we already know him. Flash can then get
That MCU Flash.
But because it's been so long that he's been gone,
yeah,
the superhero's gone, there could be big bads that are taking over. So, like, if Kingpin doesn't go through, he's now running New York.
yeah,
And then, on top of everything, that's when you could have Oscorp being fully established, massive company, making these spiders that now bites what used to be young Miles Morales. And then Peter comes back to New York having a Spider-Man,
yeah.
but it's Miles. But then you don't have that mentorship. That's the only
That's
problem.
the thing as well with it.
Because then the thing is, when you get back, like the scene from Spider-Verse where he gets back and you're like, everything's fine, something's off. And then you see the Prowler version of, well, Miles G. Morales. And you see that and you're like, oh shit. There's a different... So it could be he gets back, thinks everything's fine, he's in his suit, and people are like, when did you change your suit back? And that's when you see the other Spider-Man. So it could be done in that way. But I feel like you do need that mentorship.
Yeah. It's difficult. There's so many ways you can go about it. And like I said before, you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
I assume when that next Spider-Man film comes out, you'll probably be sat here giddy, and I'll probably be sat here
complaining.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Because there's certain things the MCU have done. I could go on forever about MCU Spider-Man, to be completely honest. I think the way so if I was in control, like I said, Hammerhead.
So I mean, I think Hammerhead would be cool because it's a character that isn't utilized enough.
Yes.
So, but then that brings us back to the street level threat.
Yeah, and that's what I want it to purely be, as well.
Battle World.
No, but you take it out of Battle World. If I had full control, like I said, not taking into consideration anything
Look at the
else
camera.
of the MCU.
Look at the camera.
What?
And tell Kevin Feige.
Right, Kevin Feige. Yeah, I've got a hat on as well. All right, you're not the only cool one here. Okay.
No, but his hats are cooler, and you can't buy them anywhere, and that doesn't help.
Right, Kevin Feige. This is what you do. Fuck off, Battle World. Yeah. Spider-Man.
That's strong language for Kevin.
Oh, you're on first name basis.
Feige, Mr. Feige. Sorry.
Take him off Battle World. Street level. That's all people want. You know. You ever
But he
seen
has
them?
webs, so technically that's above street. Continue.
Shorty on a mod. So Street World. Okay, Street World. Yeah, that's a new word. Of course.
Street World, bruv.
Mafia. Ooh. Hammerhead as one of the main villains, because he could take on Hammerhead, you know, introduce Kingpin. Who's another hero that takes on Kingpin?
I've seen this theory.
Daredevil.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Punisher.
Who's appearing in Born Again?
Yes, that's happening.
Exactly.
We know. But I'm saying that's what they were saying it was probably going to be if it was
And it
street
should
level.
be.
But then what if Spider-Man shows up in Daredevil?
I will... Look.
Fuck, I didn't think of this. I would give birth. I said this before.
I would need more pots. Alright. Yeah. Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man. That trio. The holy Trillo, yes.
Trilogy.
The holy Trillo. Yeah, that's a new word. Feige.
Hashtag.
Yeah. F-man. That sounds a bit weird. That's what you do. Yeah, you can introduce Felicia Hardy. You can introduce Gwen Stacy. Just don't break her at the first time. All right, please.
Wait,
Okay.
talk about the fact that you're doing the outro now.
We are doing the outro now. So basically, we're doing this for fun. We're kind of easing into it. I'm sure after time we'll be chatting shit like normal. But yeah, we just need more information to come out to carry on with this. So
leave a like if you want me to vent about Spider-Man some more.
You're gonna create so much beef. But yeah, we have a lot more ideas, so we're just gonna keep uploading and just see where it goes. Peace.
Farewell.